I'm not sure I can do that. I've been down there.
Hey, how you doing, Marcus? All right.
Some of it is the actual put like where it has a tax, we have names, have tax, and so there's, so we got the actual numbers. Um, but, still put it, okay. This is two pages. A lot of it is FYI. One is that the government is digital proclamation on the fourth of July holiday of the five. So I have a motion there for that. Section is on third. The April. Uh, so that's what I like to go to some of that. You can, talk about it.
Told my wife it's 19th anniversary, my 41st birthday.
Good evening, everyone. The meeting of the mayor and board of aldermen is now called to order. And first, we'll start with prayer. And I'll ask Mr. Jim Smith if you'll lead us in prayer.
Heavenly Father, let us be humble. Let us learn to love one another as we love ourselves. Let us be tolerant and understanding. Let us learn to embrace our differences so that we may come closer together. We ask that you watch over this body, to guide them, give them grace, so that they may lead this wonderful city forward. In God's name, amen.
Amen.
Roll call, please.
Alderman Fountain, absent. Alderman Jones. Alderman Shipp. Alderman Teal.
Present.
Alderman Merriweather. Mayor, you have 4 board members present.
Thank you so much. All right, next please stand for the pledge of allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And I'd like to, the records reflect that Alderman Fountain is now with us.
Yes.
All right, all members. So I'd like to ask for a moment of silence for peace. And then I also like to ask for prayers for the family of Mr. Deidrel and probably Mr. Nansen. We've got the C. Prayers for the family of Mr. Franklin Delano Frank Phillips. Prayers for the family of Mr. Ava Grace Bonga. Prayers for the family of Mr. Angie Dowdy Lynch. And also just learned this one, prayers for the family of Miss Florence Russell, who's the sister of Miss Demetria Russell. So, her aunt of Miss Demetria Russell, so. Moment of silence, please.
Mayor, before we do that, there's 2 other families I'd like to add. Family of Mr. Bob Carrington from the Spot Hill area. He served as Alderman for over 30 years there. And the family of Mr. Jim Castleberry, also from Spot Hill.
Okay, she said Mr. Carrington was an alderman.
He was, and actually, Mr. Castleberry was mayor at one point in Spot Hill.
All right, and so also we'd like to add those families, list those for Cynthia and for prayer. Moment of silence, please. Thank you. And also, we'd like to wish a happy Juneteenth to everyone. The holiday will actually be officially is observed on tomorrow. And therefore, we also like to remind everyone that the city offices will be closed on tomorrow. But I know there were a lot of wonderful events this weekend, and we want to thank Care Now for the beautiful activities that they planned, prepared, and carried out. The parts that I was able to see were just beautiful. So we thank them for that. Just remember, tomorrow again will be Juneteenth. Next, we have the adoption of the agenda. I just received something that I do need to add on behalf of the fire department as 21A. Motion to authorize the attendance of Chief Crane to MML to include hotel and per diem. And then also, item 21B is a motion to authorize 2008 Ford Expedition as surplus in the fire department. That's a picture of you out. Finish around you out. All right. Okay, what else?
Unfinished city business.
City business. We can add that then as 21C.
Also, Madam Mayor, I don't know if it needs to be on here under the open report, for the fireworks show that we're doing in July, to request an overview of what we're spending our money on that we allocated for that.
So we can do 21D, and that's the discussion about fireworks.
And then the other, I don't know if this is underneath, all of it, in terms of the $430,000 for HSU for the city bid. Is this all? And oh,
On the section C, you might want, I don't know what it is, but if it's a lot, you might want to list them out, the different items, or what have you. I think you're supposed to. I don't, unless they're executive session or something, or whatever it might be, if it's going to be adopted, I think you're supposed to list them.
So, what are those items?
What the biggest list? Unfinished bids on gas fire project. Street paving. Alfred Wells Street side. Location for the market.
and you need to add to that the $430,000 from, the state for the right of way. That's it.
So you don't want that to be 21E?
Well, it'll be 21C for our city bids.
Okay, we can move that on.
And then,
All right, is there anything else?
yes, the $600,000 for Cuba and Hill Street.
Anything else?
The also, Wales on, what is the street? West. On West Street.
Is there anything else? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adopt the agenda as
Mayor, will we adopt the agenda for the meeting?
it's the move on and down to second authorship to adopt the agenda as amended. All those in favor? All those opposed? All right, motion passes. 5 ayes, 0 nays. All right, First we have up is the revised consent agenda, and what we did was fleshed out, put the specifics, because we just received those on Monday. Item number one, motion to authorize transfer $148,374.17 from the general ACH fund to the general operating fund. This is made sales tax. Item number two, motion to authorize transfer of $2,653.26 from the general ACH fund to the public money market, Maze Tourism. Item number three, motion to authorize payment of $1,326.63 to the Holly Springs Tourism Bureau. This is one half of the tourism settlement. Item number four, motion to authorize transfer of $40,714.63 from the general ACH fund to the public money market for Maze Tourism. Item number five, motion to authorize payment of $20,357.32 to the Holly Springs Tourism Bureau, one half of tourism settlement. Item number six, motion to authorize payment of $129,144.44 to the Holly Springs High School School District Maze settlement. Is there a motion to adopt the revised consent agenda?
Mayor, I move we adopt the revised consent agenda.
Second.
It's been moved by Alderman Shipp, second by Alderman Teal. All those in favor? All those opposed? 5 ayes, 0 nays. All right. Next up, just want to make everyone aware that we will be starting the Holly Springs basketball camp. That's going to start on July the 1st and go through July the 27th. It will be on Monday and Wednesday nights from 5 to 7 o'clock, where they will actually do practice and go through routines. And then on Saturdays, they will have competitive games. We'll start taking the applications on Thursday at City Hall. And the application fee is $25, which includes the T-shirt. And so we're very excited about that. Want to thank Mr. Trayvon Johnson for moving that forward. And I'm going to come back to item number 8.
Mayor, just real quick on the basketball camp, how are we advertising that?
So we're going to have it on the radio station. I want to mention it here. And Lady Racer, she's going to do an ad for us, and then also on Facebook. And then we'll have some other activities that we'll be getting out to you relatively soon.
Now, who is Trayvon Johnson?
He actually works in the street department, and so he found the need and actually assisted us with it.
Is that through Parks and Rec?
It's going to be through Parks and Rec. Item number 9, motion to authorize payment of $4,835 to Postal Refrigeration for the emergency repair to the AC unit located at the police department. That's not my right.
Oh.
I don't see Chief Thorne, and it's just representatives, but, where's your list? I think he's at training.
Yeah.
So motion for item number 9.
Yeah, I move motion to, authorize payment of $4,835. From the Tree Commission for the bus repair to the AC unit located at the police department. Second.
It's been moved by Alderman Shipp, second by Alderman Teal. All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion passes 5 ayes, 0 nays. Item number 10, all that. Item number 11, this is one that we've talked about quite at length. And it's the motion to retain the services, expert legal services, Black and Black LLC, for the protection of the College Village utility board. No, I really hadn't heard any other questions back. Attorney Perry had mentioned at one point he was gonna do a demo, for me. We had talked, I think I had mentioned to everyone as to what they said, but their, with their fees would be, but without having someone, registered, I have not asked them to have something in writing, and I was waiting for a memorandum, so, we know how to move forward. But I had talked in executive session, I don't know if you were here or not, I had advised people as to what they expressed, that their fees would be for whether it's one of the partners or another attorney. I had talked about it verbally. But I've not had them to put anything together because I didn't have further direction. So if you like, that's something, sir. No, oh, I was talking about it. I didn't have to elaborate. Yeah, number 10, yeah, that's the one that's, but I was holding that one down for.
When we met, or at least when I discussed it, at the time, there wasn't a GM. And then the following meeting, which was a few days later, they hired a GM. My thought was that if there's going to be prospective litigation, in other words.
I think we're confused because Austin Jones was talking about number 10.
I'm sorry. Oh, I apologize.
Mayor thought, yeah.
I apologize. I jumped in.
Yeah, yeah. So, she said it was.
For number 11, Madam Mayor and Board, the motion to authorize retaining the expert legal services of Blackman and Blackman LLC for protection of the Holly Springs Utility Department. I see that we have Representative John Faulkner here, and this deals with the bill for the PSC and
Public service.
yes, Public Service Commission. Do you mind? Can you shed some light or bring some update to the bill that was passed? That apparently this is the reasoning that the mayor is wanting to retain Blackford and Blackford.
Well, and it's not, let me say this, as you expressed that, it's not just for this bill, but it's for complete protection based on some of the actions and the moves that she has made.
Yes, can you
But
share
by
that?
all means, feel free to come forward. Representative.
Chair.
Good evening. As it relates to Senate Bill 2453, that's the one that we're talking about that deals with the utility situation. The language in the bill says that the Public Service Commissioner will have the authority to take away certification of any municipality to serve customers 1 mile outside of the city limits if it's proven that they are not providing reasonably adequate service. That leads to the first question that I had. How do we measure what's reasonable and what's adequate? Alderwoman Fountain and Alderman Ship and Merriweather was there in Jackson when we had that debate on the floor, and those questions wasn't really answered. By what means are we measuring that? So, but if the Public Service Commissioner take in, say, complaints from the customers, they can then investigate those complaints and then come before the mayor and board and share with you all what they found. Give you a reasonable amount of time to correct what they found. Then if it's determined that the municipality is unable or unwilling to correct those problems, then they can petition the court. If you just stop right there, you're talking about 10 years from now, 15 years from now. And this was my argument on the floor. So just in my honest, professional opinion, this bill does absolutely nothing. It does nothing. I've got so many calls saying, well, when is the takeover of the Holly Springs Utility Department going to happen? I'm telling folks, there's no takeover. Nobody's coming to take over Holly Springs Utility Department. The bill didn't do that. Okay? I say again, the Public Service Commission can investigate complaints, and whatever they find, they have to come before you all and share with you what they found, and you have to be able to correct those problems. So let's take them hypothetical. Let's say if it's right away. We know it takes 3 to 5 years to cut right away. So the Public Service Commission determined that the right of way, the vegetation is overgrown. We know this already. They're gonna give you how much time to fix it? 3 to 5 years. So do I think that we are in a situation where there's going to be some litigation coming down the pipe that we have to be concerned about at this present time? I just don't think so. I talk to the public service commissioners on a regular basis, and they're not coming for Holly Springs. But however, the issues that you all are well aware of, and I think you guys are kind of addressing some of those, they need to be fixed. We need to just keep working on our system, because the customers, as you guys know and would agree, they deserve reasonable, adequate service. They deserve the service that they pay for. So I would just encourage the board, just keep doing what you're doing, keep working to improve our infrastructure. And I don't think we have much to worry about. I'll take any questions.
I have one question. Is Holly Springs the only city that's having this type of issue with the certification for the review? Is it just this municipality out of the state?
That's a good question, Alderwoman Fountain. Holly Springs is not the only municipality. You have Holly Springs, you have New Albany, and you have Oklahoma that falls within this bill. But when it comes to the issues that we're faced with, we are the only one that's faced with these same issues. But the bill affects all 3 municipalities, correct?
Right, there are other municipalities that have this, there are some that had the same outages that we had, because the outages were due to the weather. Representative Baldwin, I think that it's imperative that we put that out there so that people understand. Also, the difference in the city of Holly Springs situation and the others. We know that last year that Holly Springs was actually named in a bill. But we were successful in contacting people in Jackson, and that bill was stopped from moving forward. And so we know that this time what they did, so that it would not look like what it was, which was an obvious attack on the city of Holly Springs. They did what they do sometimes at the legislature, where they took the name out and they simply left a description that would fit Holly Springs, where they can say, oh, we're not just after Holly Springs, we're after any municipality. But we are the only city that they did this to last year. Although we are not the only city that had outages, as we know, we definitely have an older infrastructure, but there are others, but they also had outages. But we were the only one who they came was last year. And as far as the legislation, and you said something interesting, you said, well, they're supposed to, when Representative Faulkner talked about the reasonableness. We've already seen the attempts, not just from the Public Service Commissioner, but from TVA as well, as to the attacks on the city, and also as to the desire to intrude into our system. So that is not the only reason for the litigation. I want to make that clear as well. But it was just all about the city of Holly Springs, even though they took our name out. It was only our city. We're the only city that they went around and did the fake hearings during the election when Commissioner Brown was running for office and held the so-called hearing. We were the only city that they did that to. So we can talk and say that it includes everyone. We know that's a trick that people do sometimes in the legislature. You've been there a long time. When they're coming from a place and they leave the name out. But we're the only one that they targeted. We're the only ones where TVA has gone down, as far as I'm aware, please correct me if I'm wrong, and had special so-called hearings that we were not invited to. So therefore, we're not being treated the same as anyone else, and that's where the desire for protection of this asset comes into play, as well as the understanding of, as you know, you work for the city as well as the chief of staff. So you also know that these issues were here long before, and the storms did not help, and that everybody did the best that they could. And so, but to say that, no, they were looking at other places would not be sharing all the complete information as to how this process occurred. So it definitely all down to was that city College Springs. So you look at the totality of the circumstances, how they handled it, where they had hearings, what they did last year, and what they're continuing to do.
If I may, Mayor, just for clarity, last session in 2023, what you're referencing as a bill actually wasn't ever a bill. It was Senate Concurrent Resolution 560 that was introduced by Senator Whaley. And that resolution was asking the legislature to suspend its rules so that a new bill could be brought forward. So a lot of people in the community were saying, well, this bill last year was going to take the utility company away. Well, it never was a bill. It was only a resolution to ask permission so that a bill could be brought forward. And we was able to stop that Senate concurrent resolution in the House of Representatives. It passed out of the Senate, however. So it was never a bill, but the intent, you are correct. The intent of that resolution was to bring a bill forward that would have named Holly Springs at that time.
Right.
That is correct.
It just did not, we were just blessed that it did not get further. We definitely called on all the different representatives and everybody who, because a lot of them were not even aware of it, to stop before it got any farther. And what happened was they learned from that experience and they got out the gate a little bit faster, got it moving faster. So I think that it's important that we remember that that occurred and that is the effect of it, that they are targeting Holly Springs. And they simply took the language out this time so that they would have the success of it, so that it would not be so obvious.
And so Representative Faulkner, despite all of that, what I'm hearing from you, if I'm correct, is that everyone, TVA, PCS, PNC, wants Holly Springs to get their act together. I hear the mayor saying that we were targeted. We were not targeted because our names are Holly Springs. We were targeted because we had leadership that wouldn't respond to the people. This is why our names have been great in Jackson. I was there when you all fought it on the floor, and some of the other aldermen were there as well. And the number. Wait, you have something to say? You want to speak?
I'm glad you were invited.
I was there. We were all invited.
No, we weren't.
But we went. And the thing that I've heard from the inception, and even the board has had concerns with this, is how are we hearing the ratepayers? How are they being heard? That was their concern from the very beginning. Those were the concerns that TVA got. So I ask you to come forward because we're being fed this, that TVA is trying to take the Holly Springs Utility District. PSC wants to take the Holly Springs Utility District. When I said it before in several meetings, I've said it over and over again, what I'm hearing is that the ratepayers want to be heard and want services. I don't care if the infrastructure is 100,000 years old. They want progress, as we do. We want to know that what is the plan for us to rectify, to spend the $430,000 on the right of way that the legislator, thank God, you all got for us, that we haven't spent yet. We're not moving at the rate that we could be moving. And this is the concern for TVA and the concern of the ratepayers / PSC. Would you agree with that, or do you see a difference?
You are correct.
So, and let me say this.
Hold on,
Because there was a statement that was made in regard to the leadership not responding. So the leadership has responded. What the leadership has not done is everything that TVA wanted her to do. So we'll go ahead and put that out there. One of the things which we're all aware that TVA increased their rates on their side. One of the other things that they tried to do was get the leadership, this leadership, Sharon D. Gibson, the mayor of the City of History and Hospitality, to increase, please stop, to increase the rates for this municipality. And I refuse to do that. Right now, if we had, as far as other news, like Chattanooga and places, they've been printing the articles about TVA, what they do, how they come in and pillage other communities.
And so people can say whatever they want to regarding the leadership. The record is for itself. One of the reasons why I wanted these meetings to be on Facebook and on the radio so people could hear for themselves. So the other thing is that even as we talk about things being years away, we see that right now, even at the Public Service Commission, they are requesting proposals and different things in dealing with the Holly Springs Utility Department for an investigation into the city of Holly Springs. Now, this was at May. So it is not something that's just sitting there stagnant. Attorney Perry mentioned receiving a certified letter. So when you receive that, that means that's process. They're going through a certain process as far as getting ready to sue us. So I am quite disturbed and confused as to why anyone would not want to already be prepared. Why wait for it to come at the door before we take the steps to do? And I want to say this as well. Our team has been working extremely hard. We've already made a great deal of improvements. As this board knows, some recommendations have actually been made to them as far as dealing with the system. But we know that the contractor we have through the bidding process, that we have fewer and fewer outages, that we have made many repairs. We have an excellent right-of-way change, that we have some contractors who come in who've also assisted us, and we've been doing excellent work with them. And so our team and our own employees have been doing an excellent job. I tell people all the time, the small and mighty, do they have improvement to make? Yes, we all have. But we are singled out because we know that there are other agencies in this area that they've already decided as to how it will be separated and divided out. It is about a dollar. It is not about what's happening. This utility department has had issues for years and years, even prior to any of us getting here. And so even with the GE meters and billing. And so, but right now, TVA believes they have a board that will go along with the board. For lack of a legal word. So they believe that they have enough people who will sell it out, and I don't, and I hope and pray that we don't, because we owe that to the taxpayers. We owe that to the ratepayers to get them the best, most reliable energy that we can without making it where it's not affordable to them. We've already had a lot of calls and complaints already just from the TVA increase. And if we can figure out how to do it and get grants, that's why I sent the email seeking assistance financially for the various infrastructure that we have so that we could take care of it. If they say we've got issues, then help us to repair. But we have been working really hard. We have the new GM in, and he's been looking at things for sure. So I want to make sure that the record is clear, that yes, there was an attack on Holly Springs. The record is clear on that. And it's clear now, as I just expressed to you, that there is a proposal now at the Public Service Commission that was filed in May that talks about an investigation into Holly Springs. So this conversation of saying that it's going to be, I wish you were correct, that it's going to be 10 years or 20 years before anything happens. But as I'm looking at this, there are already moves forward. There are already moves forward.
Well, Madam Mayor, those
with some of the other things
those
that they're
moves
doing.
were
So
made
let's be honest when we talk about it.
because every report that TVA has given Holly Springs Utility. Now, I said this before and I'll say it again. You got to be accountable to someone. And we are accountable to TVA and to the constituents of Holly Springs. The audits that are not complete, that TVA has been asking for, we've been asking for. There's nothing that TVA is doing that causes for a belief that they're trying to take over the utilities department. This is gaslighting. This is putting fear into the citizens of Holly Springs for an axe to grind on some kind of case that's not even critically important. What's important is the ratepayers getting services. What is important is that the citizens of Holly Springs know where every dime from the utility department is going, and that the Board of Aldermen know that the audits are complete, that the phases of the right-of-way being updated and cut, that is transparent, that is clear to us, not just to PCS and to TVA, but to the Board of Aldermen as well. We're not there. We're not clear there. So despite all of this is why I try to continuously talk about clarity, and that's why I wanted you to come forward. we're not in the business of just hiring Blackman and Blackman. I don't even know Blackman and Blackman. You may know them. I don't know.
I do.
But I'm not in the, and I don't know about the board, but I'm not in the business of hiring an attorney firm for something that we don't even know what they're gonna fight. The letter that Attorney Perry received, if I may speak about it, was from TVA saying, we want to get a CSA in the utility department so that we can know where the money is going, so that we can have accurate. That's what the board wants. We're looking for accuracy as a board.
That's not.
So to me, it's more of us working toward getting compliant, getting the citizens of Holly Springs what they deserve. And that is clarity on what is the business of Holly Springs Utility District for everyone who pays in, for every ratepayer.
Exactly.
And that, wait a minute, excuse me.
Okay.
And so that's what I see as what we need to be focusing on, more so than hiring other attorney offices. When we have an attorney, a city attorney, that we pay very well. No, just kidding.
Yeah.
Thank
I'm just kidding.
Appreciate it.
But you know, there's some things that we are aware of because we rode that horse through there. We went to Jackson. We heard it. We saw it. We met with TVPPA. We ordered the assessment. We saw the results of the assessment. We see every board meeting before we get here. Most of them, TVA sends us another crowd asking us, please respond to the reports. These are not reports just for them to give us something to do. These are reports to make sure Holly Springs Utility Department is appropriate, accurately acting and giving services to the citizens of Holly Springs, Mississippi, and Marshall County, or Benton County, or whatever whoever the citizens are.
So, let me say this, that Alderman Merriweather mentioned something about, the audit. First of all, okay, all right, I'll come back to you. Because I don't want people to forget about this. In regard to the audits, that are delayed, if people look back again, this is why I wanted us to be videotaped, that it took me months and months and months to get an audit agency review. We were already behind with the audit when we got in as far as the COVID. And so then we finally got someone in. I did get a response from the auditor last week, and now he's saying that he wants the minutes all the way through 2024. Is the last thing, but he had not responded until I did send him a special letter earlier this week. So I think that it's important and imperative that as we talk about this, so we can talk all day and make a lot of noise. But it is important that we tell the truth, that we are honest about it, that we're honest about what happened with the audits. Accountability is important. I can say this for the City of Holly Springs, Utility Department. Our checks to TVA definitely have not bounced, and some of them have been huge. And so we are accountable. We are accountable in the way that we fight every day to keep those rates from increasing for our taxpayers, for our ratepayers. We fight for that all the time with TVA to make sure that they don't increase. So, and also that our ratepayers can see that even some of our toughest critics have expressed that the resiliency and the stability has improved, that there are fewer outages in this moment. And all of us who actually live here know that those lights don't go out like they used to. Our employees can check that. But if we're going to talk about the audits, talk about how many times it was on the agenda and never voted for, that it was held. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the number of times that we reached out to different individuals and there was no response. Let's talk about as far as TVA, that TVA was allowed into the building along with TVPPA and along with some other people. And as one of the board members put to me, as they expressed, they said, I owe you an apology. Because they said when they got into Jackson, they did use information against us. What they did not tell TVPPA and Mr. Suggs, I remember his name because it's the same last name as one of my aunts has. He did not tell about all the positive things that he expressed to us he saw because we met with him. I've met with TVA multiple times. So when you tell the stories, tell the truth. I've met with them in Memphis. I've met with them in South Haven and North Central and other places. So And we even had to wait, even though this board saw all the different storms that we went through, we had to fight to utilize funds that were set aside to help to do repairs, to help to make changes. And so we were able to do it. Thank God we were frugal on the front end, that the finances were there. And thank God for a great accounting department. And so we were able to deal with it. But when people talk about it, whether your board member would, and I don't know who TVA is working, who people are working for. But I know one thing, that the facts are there, the truth is there. There is a proposal right now, the Public Service Commission, that's PSC, right now to do an investigation into our system, even though we have been more resilient than some of the other places that are around us. Because one of the things that I have started doing is that when there is a storm, I check to see who has outages, who's out just like us, what are the causes of it. We have dealt with people in this community, business people, they say, who've actually posted things on Facebook, like Ms. Grace Bond, asking people to file complaints, even if there's not a situation. So increasing that. So that way we have even more and more complaints. So we are the only community that I have seen where people who are within it or who are a part of it, who are actually fighting against it. It makes me sad. It makes me ill when I see that individuals who should be defending, everyone should be as alarmed as I am about this happening. And yet it is painted as if that this city, it's okay if you have an issue with me or you want to run for the office or whatever, but people need to tell the truth about the condition of our utility department, the condition that was there before, and the improvements that have been made. Because it's too serious. It's too serious to politicize. People risk their lives every day to work in it. And so, but we have to tell the truth about the audits. We have to tell the truth about the improvements. We have to tell the truth that, yes, they are only after the city of Holly Springs. And already, according to rumors, have decided as to how it's going to be divided up. And so, but I will tell you, for the length of time that I have, and whether I'm here or someplace else, I will fight to protect this utility department because the people of Holly Springs it's our asset. And if we lose that asset, we've already lost some, that it will be detrimental to this community. So, but that's already happening. So the 10 years is not something that they're waiting for. Go ahead, Representative Bob.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. If I may, just for clarity purposes, when I mentioned the 10 years, you just made my case. Because if the city of Holly Springs is doing all that you just described, then we have absolutely nothing to worry about. The investigation that you're talking about is authorized because of the passing and the signing of Senate Bill 2453. So the Public Service Commission has the authority now given by the legislature to do exactly what you just described. But what I said when I first took my seat is that they will have to do an investigation. How long will that take? Okay. Then they're going to find whatever they find. They're going to come and present to this board and say, we found all of these things. And the board, and you're going to tell them all these things we worked on. We fixed all of these things. The Public Service Commission have done their investigation, presented their findings to the city of Holly Springs, and we're done. But now, however, the city of Holly Springs, if we are not in compliance with TVA, then you're gonna need more than one attorney. So if we're in compliance, we have nothing to worry about. But if we're out of compliance, if we're not improving infrastructure, we're not providing service to our customers, all these things you just said that Holly Springs is doing, if you're doing all these things, we have nothing to worry about. We can pump the brakes, calm down, and everything will be fine if what you just described is true. That's what I meant by the 10 years. And if they find something, present to the board, they don't like what response they get from the board, and they decide to take it to court, then you're going to hire an attorney, and you're going to be tied up in litigation for 10 years or more. That's what I mean.
Well, and I'm not making your case because we're talking about something completely different, but I appreciate that. I understand as far as what the law says that it has to be proven and those things, what you're saying.
It takes time.
But also, you don't ask a man who's been arrested for murder to wait until he's indicted. And that's what you're saying. You're saying to wait until it hits your door and then lawyer up. You don't do it. Anybody with, you just don't do it. And I would say that whether I was a lawyer or not. You don't wait until you lose it to get it. You do everything that you can to make sure. And especially when you're dealing with a monster like TVA, you don't do it. That's why they're doing what they're doing, because they're used to bullying people. That's their problem right now. And so, because that's what they do. And they are a monster. Anytime you can get $1 million bonus, you're a monster.
Let me finish my comments by saying this. We just don't agree that our TVA is coming to take over the system. So let's just make that clear. We don't agree on that. But let me make this statement. When the legislature, through hard work, gave $500,000 to this city, to this board, to spend to help with this problem we're talking about over a year ago. And we're sitting here today with $430,000 that this board has not spent to address the issues. That sends a bad message around the state. So all I'm saying, board members, is up to you. Do what you feel is best. Vote your conscience. But we are not going, when you don't use money, how can I ask for more money for Holly Springs? When they say, well, you got 500,000 and you only spent 70,000 of it. And let me add to this. During that assessment period, there was two parts of that assessment. It was a self-assessment and an operational assessment. The operational assessment was to be done by TVPPA. The self-assessment was to be done by the Holly Springs Utility Department. Unless there's some more information that has come out, it was reported to me that the final report, the 70-page report that we see now, had to be completed and filed without the self-assessment. Because again, the Holly Springs Utility Department did not do their part. So when we say that the city did not get a chance to say about the good things the city is doing, well, you had an opportunity. If you had a file to self-assessment, it would have been a part of this 70-page report. Maybe it would have been 80 pages had you done your part. So we spent $70,000 on an assessment that only speaks to one side. So when you get to the hearing and you see all of the negative things about the city of Holly Springs and nothing good, it's because Holly Springs didn't file anything good. So it sends, let me finish, that sends a bad message all over the state. So do what you like, but I just want to make that point.
And I'm going to say this too. In the midst of all of that, there were storms, and we have responded. There were responses that were provided.
But the assessment, it wasn't complete though.
Well, but there were responses that were provided. But let me say this: we were not invited. Shake all you want, shake, shake, shake. But we were not invited to the hearings. There weren't real hearings. There was one that TVA had requested. And when you find that TVA is requesting a hearing with the Public Service Commission, that's the hearing that they had down there. I think some of us were, I think Meriwether and Chip or somebody was told, I can't remember who, but I know you were. It was like the day, yeah, you told me the night before. And so, yeah, you told me the night before. So when people do something the night before, they have a hearing and they're asking questions, they're not wanting to know the truth. They're not allowing you to prepare for it. It was a court that, was supposed to be of record. That's just like the, campaign rally that was held here at the Bed and Breakfast during the time period. They picked out certain people to do, or the situation over at Rusk College that was not a real hearing, and they picked out certain people to come and talk. So no, we weren't allowed to be a part of it. I know how it works. I know the rules for the Public Service Commission as to how it should operate and how much notice one should have when they really want to have a hearing, when it's really objective.
Man, the assessment was 90 days before the hearing. You had the chance to file the assessment. It was 90 days prior. It wasn't overnight. We're talking about the assessment, Mayor. It was 90 days before the hearing.
We're talking about, and one other thing that I want to touch on as well. You talked about as far as the funds didn't come without Springs, so we definitely had to look at that. We appreciate that. But that had nothing to do one with the other, and I was never contacted as to why or what. In fact, I was asked for, well, as far as, well, send me the list of what you have. And so we definitely looked at that, but it is important, so we can talk about a 90-day report, but no one else had to do, I don't know, after you asked as far as other municipalities and were we being treated the same. No one else has been asked for that type of information. No one else has had
TCA made it very
No
clear
one else
why
has
they
had
were
their
taking the steps
system.
they were taking.
No one else has
They have
had
never
their
gotten this
system
many
to be
complaints from
included.
any other.
No one else has had TDA to come in. We've had TDA in our building several times where they've come in and sat down with our various department and had the opportunity to look at whatever they wanted to, just like TDPPA. So therefore, they had the opportunity to receive everything they wanted as well as the information we provided to them. So I want to make sure of that, but to say that we don't need legal representation, that is not true. That is definitely an issue and a problem as we move forward protecting the city of Holly Springs. And we know that this is something, there are even other people who've expressed this. The TVA has tried for the longest to have its hands in the city of Holly Springs, a greater hand, a greater hold. And so there are even others. So I can't believe somebody just said forward.
They're providing services. They're
They
getting
get
their money.
paid.
They're getting their money.
Well,
So they don't want to take up Holly Springs for money. They're getting their money. They're getting millions a year.
They're not getting as much as they want apparently.
They are getting millions a year. What they want is to protect their investment and the investment of the citizens, which is what the board, this Board of Aldermen is obligated to do as well.
Exactly.
Okay.
Is there any more questions for me?
No, I just wanted to just say that I understand everyone here has made valid points. I understand all sides. But the bill did pass
Yes.
quickly. And I was in Jackson, even though State Representative Faulkner made a great argument that day and did a very excellent job. It seemed as if it was already made up in their minds, it was going to pass. So, and it did. So I don't know, I do think Holly Springs need representation at the time that they need representation. And I understand Mayor saying that you're gonna need to be prepared prior to, but we can't afford to pay them years when we could be using that money to still improve the infrastructure. So that is my only concern. I am absolutely in agreement with the mayor. We do need to be prepared if that comes to that point. And it is coming. And I don't think it'll be years and 10 years down the line because they're moving very swiftly with this. But I do want to make the point that we're probably going to need this, but I don't want to soak up years and years of paying this amount of money, even though the retainer is fairly reasonable, but the amount per hour is very expensive. And if we do 2 or 3 years of them working on something, we could have been using that money to be working on what we need to be working on to improve what they're going to be coming here to invest in. And that's just my take on it. I'm on both ways, understanding both ways. That's my take on it.
Good. Thank you.
I don't have any questions.
Yes,
You mentioned that the Public Service Commission sent out a letter.
there's a proposal, something somebody.
They had a request for proposals.
Okay, and what exactly does that mean?
It's they're asking for people to assist in the investigation or that's qualified. I can read it if you want. It's a public document.
I get a copy of it.
You got it? Okay. So that, and it was back in April.
I don't have anything that, Madam Mayor.
And I just got a copy of it again. I had a copy previously too in my emails.
To start of an investigation, or they saying potentially may start an investigation?
What they're saying is that they're going to do an investigation. I don't know if I can open this back up.
It says.
And they're wanting the people that are qualified to conduct the type of investigation needed to send their proposals in. And so they're going to work in conjunction with the senior attorney from the Public Service Commission to get discovery, to get information from the city. And then from the discovery, the selected applicant shall develop and create a written report of the findings based on the information contained within the responses to the discovery, publicly available information as to whether Holly Springs is providing reasonable, adequate electric services. The selected applicant may also conduct interviews with key utility personnel, issue additional data requests, or conduct other research as needed to accumulate data, information, other knowledge for the purpose of reaching its conclusion. Then it says, following the conclusions of the written report, the selected applicant shall appear before the commission and report its findings. So that's what's going on as of right now.
So that, Mayor, I understand that you are advising the board that they will authorize some legal representation. What's the scope of work in regards to, I understand, that, but in terms of detail, what's the scope of work for the legal representation of Black and Black?
So one of the things definitely we need to defend the city against the actions of the Public Service Commission, or even to look at challenging the constitutionality of that. How valid is it? Does it stand? We know that one of the reasons they changed it earlier because there would have been a great argument as far as construction, the way that they had it written out earlier, because we're one of the few municipalities that is owned and managed by majority Black municipality, right? And so they knew that that would be part of it. But still, even with that, with what we've seen, we still see that there are some concerns. So that would be one of the things that I would want them to look at, is the validity, the constitutionality of the legislation. Is it legal? Is it legal? And then also as far as dealing with TDA. TDA is a monster. They run 24/7. And so these are things that we have to stay on top of. Like we can't just find out, say like tonight, that there's a proposal out there. Somebody to be able to watch their out also located in the area. Who can attend those meetings for us should something pop up? We saw how they have been doing this. We've seen how suddenly they're having meetings, they're having hearings. We don't know. We find out the day before for something like this is not adequate. It's not legal. And so all of those things for me would be up to be challenged. How they went about it, how they did it, the information that was provided. What truly is the role of TDA? Because there's still concerns and questions there. Is there, even as far as the contracts that we have, we've seen bits and pieces. That's them, question or whatnot.
So is TVA involved in this process that the Public Service Commission?
Right. The last meeting that they actually had at the Public Service Commission, they said that they had it at the request of TVA.
Right, but the scope of work, you're going to define two different scopes of
Yeah,
work.
but let me finish his question that he asked about TVA.
But let me,
And then I'll let you go on into it. TVA had contacted the Public Service Commission. The Public Service Commission said that they requested that hearing. They were the star witnesses, TVA, and they brought in, because they recommended TDPPA, which is kind of an extension of them, a lot of their retired people. And so those were their people who were there. But TVA was there and they were prepared. So that's where it's a combined thing. You can't deal with the Public Service Commission without dealing with TVA.
I respectfully slightly disagree. I think that you're talking about two different things. Right now, if you're saying that you're going to, that the letter that I received from TVA, which is detailing things that they're asking for, starting with the audits, starting with certain information regarding how the plan in place to provide for the prevention of outages, et cetera, et cetera. Those are things that would be separate from an investigation that's created by a state entity that's saying that we are accepting people who are qualified to ask these questions. That's an investigation that is going to me, it seems like if they're spending money to get a request for proposals, that means that investigation is going to happen. The only reason that and the mayor's correct that I did, and I was proactive on it, and I said that I would do a memorandum explaining why it would be, if the board's decision was to get engaged in a legal agreement with Blackman and Blackman or whomever. And I also want to be clear, it was my belief that Blackman and Blackman is a qualified firm to do the work. But before you do that, you want to have the scope of work. And you also don't want Blackman and Blackman or any other firm sending an associate to HSUD and spending hours on end doing stuff that HSUD could have explained or have in place and organized. And if you have a person that the board voted at the very next meeting after we had that conversation to engage a director and you got a general manager there, then I think that to me, it would be smarter to engage in allowing him to do his job and allowing him to at least have information marshaled so that it can be turned over to whomever is going to be either defending or getting information together or but if you have some wide open scope of litigation, you're going to look up and have a $300,000 bill. And that's the issue that, you know, and I'm not going to have my name on that to the board saying I am proposing that that happen because you need to define the scope of litigation. And one thing that since, you know, litigating very small things or what have you that the mayor might say litigate, I have controlled it because I don't necessarily charge for it, although I could, and with other clients I would. But I've been cognizant of that for that very reason. With this, if you're saying they got to do this for a TVA and they have to do this for PSC, then without any scope of how many hours, what type of work is going to be done, and without any conversations with the general manager, you're leaving an open checkbook. That's my concern.
Well, and let me say this, definitely, Mr. Jones is here, we've had some conversations, so it's not about leaving him out, not having conversations, it's about that fact is he's not a lawyer. And a lawyer who's, has expertise in utilities, as Blackman has. And so let me go on the record saying that, and the two are working together, so it's not separate. The Public Service Commissioner's complaint is based on the accusations and the allegations of TVA. So therefore, that makes it the same. Now, what I will do is hold it, and I'll even talk with Attorney Blackman and see as far as what she thinks and as far as the scope. And I bring that with me next week, and I also talk with Mr. Jones, because we've already talked about a meeting for this week, and get that so that that's prepared. But to deal with TVA, as we have seen where our people have opened the door to them, and TVPPA as well, they came in and they did an assessment, and that was a major thing. They were provided all kinds of documentation, financial as well as otherwise. But what they didn't do when they went down to the state was they weren't honest. They didn't talk about all of the repairs and things that our people did, sometimes right as it was happening. And Attorney Perry, I appreciate you pointing out that since this proposal is out there, that investigation will probably take place. Now, we already know as to how that will go down, as to that if they come in. We've already found that people have not been objective and they've not been honest. We saw that with TVPPA, the Public Service Commission. So to open the door again and let fox in the hen house without having to go is a problem. And so, but I don't get to vote. But my job is to make sure that people are informed and notified, because I don't get anything from TVA. I don't get anything. And so therefore, I have to tell the truth. I have a duty. I have a responsibility to the constituents here. I was an alderman before, and I saw the attacks that they tried to do then, and people held strong. I saw even before the last administration, when I saw a mayor before even refused to sign certain documents. You were here as chief of staff, so you know as to Representative Faulkner as to what was done, what was not done, what the city did, what the city didn't do. If it was in such horrible shape, it was already there before we got it. But we've been working. We came in, we fixed a water tower that had holes in it for more than 5 years. He's welcome to respond to Mary when you were asking him if he wants to say anything. I don't ever have a problem with that at all. That's why I take questions from people. So my point is that this is not something new, and that it's clear that it is an attack on the city of Holly Springs. So we can talk as much as we want to, we can dance as much as we want to, but I will sleep well knowing that I have put the information out there to the public, to the ratepayers, to the constituents. And I think that one thing all of our ratepayers will agree to is that they don't want higher rates. Yeah, but if they don't come out and fight with me,
They won't be served.
if they don't come out and fight with me, they want services, but they want them for reasonable rates like other people have. These are some of the highest rates that I know that I have ever paid. And so in this small community. And so therefore that we all have that one thing in common, that we don't want higher rates. And so I'm asking the community that if they care about it, they need to speak up. They need to speak up and they need to talk about it. They need to talk about the positives and not fall into the games of people who don't live here and people who benefit from certain people politically. So we need to be on top of this. But I will do that, Alderman Jones. I will talk with Attorney Blackman, Alderman Fountain. I will talk with Attorney Blackman, and we'll get a scope of services so we can look at it and see exactly what do they think. But that was one of the things.
And I just want to say this, and maybe we can just tie this up and go on to the next item. There have been improvements that I have seen just living here. And some can agree, some may not agree, but I can definitely, I would attest to there have been improvements. But because we didn't do the self-evaluation, or we didn't provide the information to them when we were down there, they only saw the other side. They didn't see, and State Representative Faulkner know that we were in the stand saying, we've done that. We've made improvements. Our lights are staying on better. They do have poles. We have contacted Southern Electric to help with this, but none of that is that was presented to the floor. It was only one sided. So I agree with what the mayor is saying. Both sides are going well, but it's something that we haven't had a chance to say what we've done because we didn't provide the information. So the floor only had the side that the people were complaining about. Those were the pictures that they gave, the reports from TVA, all of that was them, and none from Holly Springs. So we have made improvements that need to be known and said, but at that time, it was not provided. And I'm hoping that this will tie it up and we can go on to the next item on the agenda.
Just have some quickness. Is there a report put together on what has been corrected officers? That would be very helpful. Has there been a report put together?
So we have responded to that. Let me say that. We have responded to that, not in the detail that they
No, I'm
want.
just saying on everything that we prepared.
Oh, I'm working on that.
Fixed and
I'm
all
working
that.
on that with photos, to boot. And so, but you know that this board refused to vote for a PR person, so that's stuff that I have to work on myself to pull out.
Right.
So, because of not having that, assistance, so, but it's something that I'm working on. We have plenty of photos to show what we have approved. And as Alderman Fountain, I appreciate you saying that. Let's do that, acknowledging the improvements, because our team works extremely hard. Our team works
But that's
extremely hard.
also what
And
this
so,
investigation entails.
well, the
Their
PCS, they did,
investigation
and to go back to that,
choosing
they did not
people
give us
that
notice.
can give them
They
accurate
didn't give us notice.
information about.
They don't want
Okay,
to.
well now, Mr. Attorney, I'm asking for a point of order, because I'm ready to go on to the next one.
Number 12,
Thank
City General Bills and Claims.
I'll move to city general bills.
And I'll second.
Moved by Alderman Teal, second by Alderman Townsend. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? 5 ayes, 0 nays. Item number 13, City Utility Bills and Claims.
I'll make a motion to pay city utility bills upon.
And I'll second that.
Moved by Alderman Teal, second by Alderman Townsend. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? 5 ayes, 0 nays. Item number 14, public comment. The first person we have is Mr. Jim Smith. You have 3 minutes. Please state your name for the record.
Jim Smith. Understand why we sit quietly here, subjected to this BS political soapbox grandstanding. Us lowly taxpayers, we get a timed 3 minutes. So do me a favor, air your dirty laundry someplace else. We don't want to hear it and we don't want to see it. To address one thing that Representative Faulkner said, that litigation is down the pike. It's not. Litigation is already happening. As you know, I've sued HSUD, but I guess I'm a nobody, so I don't count. To respond to Alderman Merriweather, what's important is communication, and you guys are horrific at it. I'm amazed by the rhetoric I heard from those pontificating this evening. But my utility bills are still 2 to 3 weeks late. My bills reflect an overcharge of rates. My sidewalks are still not ADA compatible. The compress is still leaking hundreds of gallons of water a day. You guys still refuse to provide me answers to questions that I've posed over the course of 2 years. But I want to spend my 3 minutes tonight on an awesome resource that you guys have here in Holly Springs, and I hopefully it's not undervalued, and that's Mr. John Perry. He's a very good attorney, but his legal acumen pales in comparison to his character. And I hope this board and this city understands that. My power went out the other day, and I called HSUD, and I can't get an answer. I get a third party answering per people. I was on hold for 17 minutes and 9 seconds with that third party answering service. I don't know what you pay them, but cut their pay. I'm frustrated. I'm impatient. I'm irritated. I text Mr. Perry. He texts me right back. Right back. Now, this guy, he's got more clients than Holly Springs. He's doing continuing education, whatever he's doing, and he drops what he's doing and texts me back and says, what's going on? I tell him what's going on, and what he does is he finds out what's happening and calls me back. It was somebody hit a pole and half of the town was out. But you know what? That's all it takes. Going back to you, Alderman Merriweather, it's all it takes is communication. Why I can't get an answer at HSUD, and then I'm on hold with a third party that gets paid to answer the phone. I'm on hold for 17 minutes and 9 seconds. But your attorney has the wherewithal to drop what he's doing and text me back. So I know it's 3 minutes. In short, please. John Perry is an amazing resource that you have here in Holly Springs. Please treat him well. Thank you.
Next, we have Mr. Danny Lewis. Please come forward, state your name for the record, and you have 3 minutes.
I'm gonna stand up. How's everybody? All right, Danny Lewis here. I just come to thank the mayor for the aldermen and the fire department and the EMS and the Park and Recreation for supporting us on May 26th for the Soul Blues Mega Fest, and also to request to use the streets around the courthouse square. So that myself and my friend, not Representative Faulkner on that day, DJ, legendary Jay Falk, and I, and some of the other people that support us can give a concert for the people to show our appreciation. And also to request the police assistance and emergency medical. July 25th, that's on Thursday. We have some artists that we're promoting that's got hot records in the region. We want to bring them to Holly Springs and present them to the public on that day. All right.
What's the date?
Thursday, July 25th. Thursday, July 25th, 6 to 10.
6 to 10.
Can we see it now? Or do I stand? Okay. I do it, John.
All right, man.
As you would like, we can come back. I don't have anything in details on it as far as the streets or the area. I think Mr. Lewis mentioned something about the square. So it's up to you all as to what's your pleasure. If you'd like to know more details as to when, but what's your pleasure?
If he's just asking for the blockage of the street like they don't have or events on the square, I would make it.
And we just want to be able to use to put the stage up wherever y'all allow us to. Where we can have power and bands, whatever. So anyway y'all say, we'll make it work.
Set up over the east side of the square, around to the north side there.
What is the east side? Beside over
Booker's,
Yes, yes.
okay.
the east side there, then around the front.
Yes.
So I move the street blockages for the east side of the square, July 25th, for free concert. Well, I won't say 6 to 10. I'm sure they want to block off a little bit before 6. But I'll leave the time up to the police chief.
But we plan to start the event at 6. It's cool.
So we want 5:30. I mean, 5:30.
You probably want to do a little bit after 5, that way that, the people that work on the square could
Can go home.
move themselves around.
So I guess I'll include the time of 5:30 to 10:30.
I'll second.
It's moved by Alderman Denson, second by Alderman Hill. All those in favor? All opposed? 5 ayes, 0 nays. All right, thank you. Item number 15, motion to authorize July 4th and July 5th as holidays in the city of Holly Springs due to the proclamation issued by Governor Tate Reeves proclaiming both days as being observed by the state of Mississippi.
You can claim both of them as state holiday.
Right, in city holidays. So that we have July the 4th, that's on a Thursday, and so what the governor has done is also declaring Friday as well. So we want to, do a motion so that it's on the book so that our people can benefit the same.
It's
So
on your
not
desk
just
as well.
Thursday, but it'd be Thursday and Friday as well.
It's on your desk.
Just for this year.
Just for this year.
If I can get fail.
Okay.
But the state has said that one, so I think you can, the ones that the state said.
They probably.
Okay.
That's my thought.
That's their motion. Okay, good.
Okay, I move to authorize July 4th and 5th as holidays for the city of Palm Springs due to the proclamation issued by Governor Tate Reeves proclaiming both days as being observed by the state of Mississippi for 2024.
I second.
Moved by Alderman Johnson, second by Alderman Merriweather. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes, 5 ayes, 0 nays. And next, we talked some about streets, and I'm gonna get you all a copy of this. I will email it to you. It's from, IMS, and it outlines, some streets on that were, recommended, and I asked them to take a look at it so they could give an estimate as to, what it would cost to do those, repairs. And so I have one copy with me, but I'll email it to you all. What they came up with for the streets that were listed, was Rising Star Road, Hudsonville Road, Higdon Road, Govan, Hill Street, Northeast Boundary, Rocking Road, Westlake Road, McCoy Avenue, Richmond Road, West Valley Avenue, Northwest Boundary Street, Ford Street, Cochran Street, Van Dorn, Elder. And the total for that is $3,648,232.14. They've also, on this, when you receive it, it will tell you as to what work needs to be done, what they're recommending, whether it's an overlay and striping, overlay and leveling or milling or whatever's required. And even as far as if there is an issue with the sidewalk. So they've outlined all of that in, and I'll get you all a copy of that. What I'll be doing in the next few days, if everybody will be still, is looking at some of the federal grants in you still. So that we can look at some of the federal grants that are out there and see if we can get some of those funds to take care of that. But I will be sending that to you all. I'll email you all a copy of that. Next, we have a motion to authorize a pay rate increase for Mr. DeJuan Wells in the amount of $18.50 due to the completion of training, first lab, and apprentice line.
That means authorize a pay.
I had a question. Because these next two, hopefully it's different.
Mr. Allen has city.
Yeah, that's what I was
So
gonna
you
say.
know,
On the first,
that's different.
on the first,
Yeah, but I revised. it.
Thank
I figured that would come up, so
Yeah.
I wanted to move that in. And, this came, Mr. Humphries, walking us through the rates and things. And Mr. Wayne Jones is aware of it as well, we're gonna talk about it. All right, is there a motion?
I move to authorize pay, I move to authorize a pay rate increase to Mr. Lawrence Wells. The amount of $18.50 through completion of training, first lab, and apprentice line school.
Second.
It's a move by Alderman Schiff, second by Alderman Teal, all those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes, 5 ayes and 0 nays. Item number 18.
I motion authorize the payment increase for Michael Allen in the amount of $19 due to completion of first lab in Prentice Lineman School and having CDL license.
A second.
So move by Alderman Hill, second by Alderman Fairwell. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes 5 ayes, 0 nays. Item number 19, we received a summons, change report matter, the Christian Methodist Episcopal Church and Board of Trustees, Christian Methodist Episcopal Church versus the Board of Trustees of Mississippi Industrial College of Holly Springs, Marshall County, Mississippi, Institute of Community Services, IDS Incorporated, Holly Springs Municipal Separate School District, AKA Holly Springs Municipal School District, the City of Holly Springs, Mississippi, ABC individuals and XYZ entities, cause number 24-CW-47W. And this is, Attorney Perry has received a copy of it. What I'd like to ask tonight is for a motion to authorize him to represent us in this matter. And this is where, the CME Church, is saying that the property is no longer being utilized for the purposes intended and that it has reverted back.
This is junior.
Education.
This is the old Sam's
Yeah,
School,
that's what I call it.
which was the original
We've
school
already-
for people of color.
Dealt with this matter before, it was,
Well, the school swapped it out and there were things where they've come back now and actually filed a lawsuit. So is there a motion to authorize Attorney Perry to represent us?
Madam Mayor, I make the motion to authorize Attorney Junkie Perry to represent us in
Oh,
the
excuse me. Is that something, Attorney Perry?
Yes.
All right, go ahead.
Thank
in the case of the Christian Methodist Episcopal Church, ETAL versus Board of Trustees of Mississippi Industrial College of Holly Springs, Marshall County, Mississippi, ETAL. We authorize Attorney Perry to represent us, because in the ETAL, it's Holly Springs.
And
Just made everybody, everybody
Move
else.
by Alderman Merriweather, second by Alderman Shelf. All those in favor? All those opposed? 5 ayes, 0 nays. Item number 20 is approval of the April 2nd, April 16th, April 25th, regular board meeting minutes, necessary corrections, because I did see some of 25 that need to be done based on statement I made. And then the May 7th, 2024 regular board meeting minutes and May 21st, 2024 regular board meeting minutes.
The 25th was a special call meeting.
April 25th was a special call.
Yes, sir.
Is there a motion to approve those?
Okay, I'll motion to approve, April 2nd, 2024, April 16th, 2024. Regular call meeting minutes, April 25th, special call meeting, this is, said the necessary correction. May 7th, 2024, regular board meeting minutes, May 21st, 2024.
So move by Alderman Hill, second by Alderman Schiff. All those in favor? All those opposed? 5 ayes, 0 nays. And I'm gonna hold item number 21 based on the chief going out of town. Item number 24 is the one that I had added for, the request to authorize Fire Chief, Rodney Crane to attend the MMO conference, to include, per diem and hotel and registration. Sir? Yes, sir. What-
21A.
21A. Okay. It's been moved by Alderman Jones. Is there a second? Second. Moved by Alderman Jones, second by Alderman Merriweather. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? 5 ayes, 0 nays. 21B, was, the declaration of surplus property of a 2008 Ford Expedition in the fire department. Chief Crane, you here?
Yes.
Will you come up, please? And so, He's saying that it's 2008 Ford Expedition. I'm gonna let you all take is this the one that's parked out in front of the new, fire department?
Yes,
It looks mighty nice.
it is. It's
Wants us to declare it surplus.
got surplus and,
Sell it.
sell it off and we can, utilize the money back into our budget. It's one of the units we took out of service.
Where do you sell it at?
What do we sell it at?
Sell
We can take sealed bids or we can take it to it. We can take sealed bids or we can do the auction. I think y'all doing one now, right? Yeah. Yeah, they having one this weekend.
Yeah, it's one Saturday.
Yeah.
Right.
That was one that's been taken out of service to replace the assistant chief truck.
I'll make a motion to move the 2008 Ford Expedition into surplus for the fire department. That wasn't correct.
It's been moved by Alderman Shields, second by Alderman Jones. All those in favor? All those opposed? 5 ayes, 0 nays.
And look here, Chief, to be sold at the auction, is that what you're saying?
Yes, where we can get it sold at. Quick, fast, and hurry. Ready to move. That time.
We'll make sure of the procedures. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, item number 21C, unfinished business, put on by, Alderman Ship. And he listed out several things, cast iron, street paving, Ivy Wells, I think signage. And then cast iron, we're waiting on the audits on that, as always. Ivy Wells street signs, I have to check on those. It's been a while since we did that. The marquee, I did talk with the utility department about that because we got to look at the wire, but it's been a while. We had some things in between.
You have a location.
Yes, we already found one even before they, delivered it. That's large enough where we say out in front of the building. On the side, the Eddie L. Smith multipurpose building. On the side, I'll show you the arm. I'll show you where. So that it can be seen. And then we've got to build up, we talked with our concrete department so that they can build up a space to set it off so that it can be visible even over the hill.
What's the time for these projects?
And then what about the street signage? Are we gonna change the street signage for, Bedford Street to?
That's what I'm saying, I've got to look at that, because I haven't, we talked about it quite some time ago, but we haven't talked about it since then, so I need to check the status of that.
So on those, I know we approved it. Did we approve an amount there? Because I'm sure it's different. It's been over a year.
I know we approved the purchase of street signs, but
Should the street department purchase alongside it? Wouldn't be.
So we'll check on that Thursday. And I'll give it all to Ms. Johnson. I know that was something that was important to him, even as far as support. The other thing, and I guess we talked about this song, as far as the right of way. And
So, Madam Mayor, I may ask about the right of way, and I know that, we're working on these things, but it seems like that we need to put some time limits on these things. We've been talking about, we got this $600,000 back in 2022, March. Hoover Street, I've talked about it, my constituents are still calling, their yards are still washing away, and we have $600,000 in the bank over 2 years, and we haven't, have we done have we gotten, bricks?
so we actually, even before that, had gotten with, Elliott and Brett to look at it to see, because there was some confusion at one point. There was talk that it was for the roads, but it turned out that it's more for the drainage. Now, I have not talked with them recently regarding it.
So that's what I'm asking, Madam Clerk, what do you recall the motion that we passed? Was there a time limit, the end of March 31st?
For the RFQ for Elliott and Brett, I think it was the end of the month. Whenever the motion was made, it was for the end of the month.
Can you research that and let me know that information, because it just seems like, I mean, we're into, almost the beginning of our last year in this capacity. And it just bothers me that we've had this kind of money for these reasons. And we're yet checking into it. There needs to be some action. I talked to Attorney Perry on the $600,000 for December 2023. We made the motion then. And here it is June, almost the end of June. And to my understanding, no action has been taken on that, even to now. So I'm still asking again, if there could be some, I know we can't make anyone do anything, but as I asked the last meeting, what are our choice as a board? If we have made these motions and passed them with the timeline and they have not been met, and we get great feedback from them when we ask, or otherwise too much, nothing is said about it. So what do we do? Because our constituents are looking at us. Even with, and I appreciate Madam Mayor with the schedule for the road pavings. That's why I sent a text the other day. When we get one road paved before our tenure is up, these 40 years, because the constituents are asking when are the roads going to be paved. And so they're asking about the $600,000, the ditch, and we're asking about the right of way. We're asking about the next item is the rails on West Street. These are things that we've been asking for 2 years. So I'm asking, can we put a deadline on the phone? What can we do?
I think, Alderman Mayor, was that when we make our motion, it should be clear and concise. We have to realize that these minutes are a part of history and they'll be in the archives. So whatever motion we make, if we make a vague motion and there's no timeline on that, then it can be handled whenever. But if you want clarity or you want it to be clear and concise, I feel like we should make that when we're making our motion.
That's what I'm asking, but once we put a timeline on
Mhm.
the $600,000 has a timeline on it.
Mhm.
It was December
December.
2023. Then it was made again March 2024. And this is June 2024. So I'm asking,
You asking what we do when you have put a timeline on it and it hasn't been followed through. Yeah, gotcha.
It's a day-to-day operation question, so.
Yeah.
And we do have an executive session matter dealing with Parks and Rec, and I'd like to request a closed session.
We are.
21D.
Oh, okay. Yes, and so we do have, thank you. Do have an agreement with them that was voted on in July, as we mentioned before, July 4th. The celebration will be on July 5th, that Friday.
So we have the fireworks, that contract has been signed, and they're gonna be here to do that on the
Yes,
fifth.
they've already come out and sent us the measurements, and I've already talked with the other company that helps us out, so.
Where,
Where? Pavilion or we
It's
get?
gonna be at the same location as last
can we, and I don't know if we did last year or not, can we block off, well, same area we're talking about blocking off, for the 25th? That part of the square, that's always a hot spot for people to set up their little chairs.
year. Yeah, we blocked it off last year.
I don't remember if we did it or not. Did we do that? Is that?
Sure, over by,
Oh,
over
that-
hardware that we
that's
were
fine.
first, we did it last year,
Okay.
because there were some people who said that they lost.
Yeah, it's
You just
just
have to remind me as we get closer to it, okay?
Is anyone partnering with us with this, Main
Yes,
Street or?
The same company as last year that pays half,
Oh, yeah, I know, see it back.
okay, so we make sure that they are a part of our banner and a part of the advertising that we put out. We put their name on it because we definitely appreciate it.
how much did we authorize for that?
I don't remember.
I think it was 15,000 or 17,000.
What'd you say?
How much was
I
it?
think it's 17,000 for the X.
So how many X did we get for $17,000?
I'm asking if we get an itemized list of what we're spending the money on. We get an itemized list.
You definitely did last year.
We got,
So we will have,
Okay, so if we
it's
budget,
been approved for it, so we'll
Right.
get it to you.
Well, do you know what our portion of the fireworks were?
if it's gonna be at the pavilion.
I don't have that
Yes,
with me.
but I don't.
I don't have it with me. I think they're doing a half of we're.
I think.
Right,
Jerry
I
told
just
me.
don't.
So I can't recall. That's exactly what it is.
Mayor may have an itemized list, I don't know.
Not gonna say that at this moment in time, public, based on my conversation with them. So we have to talk with you, outside of it. Because we haven't, we're still finalizing something, so.
Is it
Feel
more
like
than
it is.
more than one performer?
As we did last year. As we did last year, more than one. That also includes other things like advertising.
So does that money also include restrooms,
What about it?
stuff that,
And all right, now then, kind of motion to go into closed session to determine the need for executive session. Second. Bill Boswell, second by Mary Weathers, go into closed session to determine the need for executive session. All those in favor? All those opposed? 5 ayes, 0 nays. Thank you.
Thank y'all again. Thank y'all.
Where you going?
Now, they ain't go one place now.
I get you.
The board voted, thank you, Mr. Jones. The board voted to go into executive session to discuss personnel matters at Parks and Recs and the police department. Hello, Ms. Shipp. Don't bust it.
All right. Board voted to come out of executive session. The following action occurred. It was moved to suspend Mr. Marvin Bruce without pay until the next regular, board meeting. See. And, details,
Ma'am,
so that is number 8, I'll bring that back in May. All right, there's no additional, business, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. For a second, it's a move, Alderman Keel, second by Alderman Fountain, all those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes 5 ayes, 0 nays. Right.